Railings. To create railings in Revit, you need two main components, a path and a pattern. Let's take a look at the path first. You can see that I have created a floor, actually on the second level, with a hole in it. To keep people from falling down the hole, let's put a railing around the outside perimeter. Architecture tab, circulation panel, you'll find the railing tool. When you click on the railing tool, you can see that we're in sketch mode and you have different sets of tools to create the path of your railing. We'll go ahead and just create a railing with a straight path. However, because we have a shape in which we want the railing to follow, we can go ahead and pick the Pick Line tool. The advantage of this is when we align the railing with a shape by using the pick tool, we can lock it to that shape, so if the shape changes, the railing will follow. So all we have to do is select the edges of the shape and lock the line of the railing to it. And we'll do that for all four sides. Now you can see that our railing in our preview here is down on the first level. We need to look at our railing properties over here and change the level to level 2. We can finish our sketch and we have a railing. Now if we go into our floor and edit that opening by making it bigger in one direction, finish the sketch mode, you can see that the railing changed. One important thing to remember about railing and sketch modes when creating the railings, if you double click on the railing you get into sketch mode, is that it has to be one continuous line. If I get rid of two edges where I have two distinct lines, Revit will not allow it. So keep in mind that the railing has to be one continuous line, like so. And you can even create this edge, and if you want to have a break in the railing for stairs to come up, you can use your split tool and get rid of the middle section, and this is where you could place your stairs. You can create many shapes to your railing using these tools here. You can make a circular railing. Let's put that on level 2 so we can see it. You can make an arc or any of these other shapes. Again, level 2, finish your sketch mode, and there are your different shapes of railing. To edit a railing once you've created it, all you need to do is double click it, or if you click it once, you can edit the path here, and you go into sketch mode. Now let's take a look at the pattern of the railings. I'm going to go ahead and delete these and create a single run, a straight run of a railing, so we can watch it as we change the pattern. In order to understand the pattern, let's take a look at a sketch showing the elements. Here we have a simple pattern of a railing. A railing consists of horizontal members called rails and vertical members called balusters. In Revit, we'll be able to create as many rails and at what height, at different heights, we want, and the shape and size of the balusters, the vertical elements, and the pattern that they create. To create this pattern where we have two long balusters reaching the top rail and one short baluster not reaching the top rail, followed by the two, and then the short one, and then the two again, is shown in this sketch here. To look at this pattern, you have to find the beginning and the end. You might think that the beginning is here, but really it usually is the second member. So the pattern is really here, A, B, and C. If you start with the second one, we'll create a baluster that goes to the top rail, and then we'll specify that the short one is 1 foot away from that. Then another long one, 1 foot away from that, And then the pattern starts all over again here with A, that's 6 inches away from here. You can see that the last baluster here in our pattern, C, is the same as the first baluster here that I have shown. So let's see how we can do this in Revit. To change the shape or type of railing that we have, we'll first need to highlight it and edit the type parameters. In this dialog box, you can see up at the top is where we will change the rail structure, the horizontal elements, and the baluster placement, the vertical elements. We'll start with the rail structure. When I select the rail structure, there is nothing in this dialog box. That is because we are using the top rail option, and you can see that we're using it here. Revit makes a distinction between the top rail versus all of the other rails for other uses we'll look at later in the semester. The height of the top rail is listed here, and you can change that. And then the type or the shape of the rail is here. We'll keep it at 3 feet for now. Let's go ahead into the rail structure and let's add a rail or two at different heights. We'll make one at 1 foot and one at 2 feet. And over here in the profile is where we can change the shape. For the bottom one, let's go ahead and make it a C-shape piece of steel so it's distinguishable from the others. And the top one we can make a regular rectangular handrail. When we hit OK and OK again, you can see, if I go to the end of the rail, you'll see it more clearly. Here is our C shape, our top rail, or our very bottom rail, I mean. Here is our rectangular handrail in the middle, and then our top rail is here that is also rectangular. Now let's go ahead and look at the pattern of the balusters. Again, we'll highlight the railing, edit the type, and this time we'll go to the baluster placement. You can see that the pattern that is shown here is one type of baluster. It's a square 3/4 inch baluster that is placed, you can see here, distance from previous, every 4 inches. So Revit creates the railing pattern by placing the baluster family a certain distance from the one before it. So in our example before, we had 2 long ones and then a short one. The 2 long ones were 6 inches apart, and the short one was 1 foot in the middle of those. So we'll need to highlight one and duplicate it twice. The top one, or row number 2 here, we'll go ahead and make it be the long one, and this is the one that we wanted 6 inches away from the previous. The middle one will be our short one, and instead of having the top of this baluster go to the top rail element, we'll go ahead and make it go to the second rail element. And we want this to be 1 foot away from the beginning of the pattern, or this baluster. The last one will be a tall one again, so it will stay at the top rail element, but it also wants to be 1 foot away from the short one. And then it starts all over. This is the pattern end, so after this baluster has been placed 1 foot away from the one before it, it starts all over. And then this baluster is placed 6 inches away from the last one. If we hit OK, and OK again, you can see that it has created the pattern we looked at in the sketch. Let's take a look at offsetting the railing from the vertical plane of the railing sketch. This happens often when you have a handrail in conjunction with a guardrail that's all part of the same railing family. The handrail does not want to be in line with all of the other balusters and railing because you wouldn't be able to put your hand on it without bumping into the other elements. So we can offset that. The first thing we'll want to do is edit the type properties of this railing. So we'll highlight it, select it, go to its type properties. The next thing we'll want to do is go to the top rail that we're using and set it at a guardrail height, which is 3'6". And the type rectangular is fine. We'll keep it at that. Now let's go to the rail structure. We have two rails, one at 1 foot, one at 2 feet, and let's add one more at 3 feet. When I added it adds to the bottom, we'll need to select the up button to put it to the top, and a handrail height is usually at 3 feet. Here is where we offset it from the vertical plane. We don't want it aligned with the other plane elements or the other elements in the same plane, so we'll need to offset it about 2 inches. If we hit OK and hit OK, we can see that it has created a new top element taller and a handrail that is now offset from the vertical plane. Here. And that is Railings.